Hello, we're being recorded already.
Hola. Oh,
It said,
vamos a empezar muy bien. Y bienvenidos y bienvenidas. ¿Cómo están todos? ¿Están bien? ¿Están bien?
Muy bien.
Están bien.
Excelente. Muy bien, muy bien. Vamos a practicar con muchísimas cosas. Lo que ustedes necesitan bueno, un momentito, voy a poner la pantalla aquí. What you should look for if you need to print it out or if you need to pull it up on the second screen, if you work two screens on your computer, lo que quieran, whatever you want to do, is this set of prompts, which we're going to do a lot of work working up to the prompts because, vale la pena. It is worth it to work up to that. So we'll do a lot of review and practice moving up to those prompts, but that is the page that you will need when you go off into small groups. Es largo. This one's kind of long, so I've got to make sure I give us plenty of time. I think I am going to probably split this into maybe 2 sessions so that you come back after maybe the first 13 and go from 13 to the end. Okay. Although, we got preocupar too. So I've got a few things to work. Yeah. Our little grammar bit will be working some of these verbs that are sometimes reflexive, but sometimes not, and sometimes like gustar, and kind of work our way up to that. But parecer and preocupar are the 2 biggies that you'll be working with your prompts. So I'll take that off the screen for now, but do check that out so that you can pull up either the printed paper or the file. Y vamos a empezar con destinos un poquito. I am not going to spend a lot of time on destinos because, again, there are really no huge reveals in this very last episode. And I will tell you what is in the extra files so that you can know about that. Es el último episodio. Some of you will feel sad, but don't feel sad because they're going to have other things to listen for listening. Because I'm always scouring for new information, new videos, new stuff, and we will definitely have stuff. Pero el título del episodio, el último episodio, es Siempre lo amo. Siempre lo amo. She always loved you. Siempre lo amo. Y entonces aquí, un momentito, tengo que compartir. I gotta put my share screen on. No pueden ver. We will not look every single scene here. I want to ask if ustedes tienen alguna pregunta de lo que pasó, question about what happened, alguna pregunta quizás sobre una frase, una manera de expresar una idea, quizás, anything that might have sounded a little funny or odd to you.
First band to perform tonight is the Saguaro High School Marching Band.
Okay.
is it just me or does anybody else hear all this
No,
stuff?
I don't know where our fun sound is coming from, but the high school band. But
Yeah,
I
high school
don't
marching.
think that's me. Let me make
I
sure.
think
have
it's
got
coming
something
from
else written.
whoever is EC. Okay, they muted themselves.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Bien. Bien. Okay. ¡Ja! Eso pasa. That happens. No te preocupes. Don't worry. Okay. A ver. Vamos a ver. I'm going to go through a few tidbits that may have stumped you or sounded odd or lo que sea. So I'll start off and then I'll open it up. You may have heard them say a few little things like me gustaría me gustaría que si fuera, I would like it if it were so, which is a real weird combination of, well, it's a hypothetical situation. I would like it if it were so. Si fuera. When you hear a word like fuera, well, fuera can mean a couple of things. Fuera puede expresar outside. Está, see, fuera, something is outside. Fuera can also be what they call a imperfect past subjunctive, which is a real fancy way for saying, if I were you, I would do this. Well, the if I were you part is what they call subjunctive. So often when you hear a word like fuera, and they're not talking about location outside, fuera means if it were a certain way. Okay. Para que sepan, so you know. Bien. Another thing that you may have heard them say was se me ocurrió. Se me ocurrió. It occurred to me, and it's one of those accidental se situations. Se me ocurrió. Anytime you hear an expression start with se me, and there are only certain verbs that use that. Se me ocurrió. It occurred to me. Se me perdió. It went and got lost on me. Se me olvidó. Oh, I went and forgot. It indicates an accident or something that happens out of the blue, totally out of the blue. So se me ocurrió is not an accident, but it means it occurred to me, meaning, wow, that just hit me. I wasn't expecting to think about that. Se me ocurrió. It just occurred to me. Es así. It is that way. So one of the many fun and sometimes puzzling uses of se. They also talked about, uy, ¿qué más? What else struck me as kind of might be odd for you? Hace ya algo que dijo Mercedes, something that Mercedes said. Hace ya muchos años. Oh, already many years ago. Hace ya muchos años tuve, don Fernando, perdón. Hace ya muchos años tuve esta misma idea. Wow, many years ago already, I had that same idea, or I got that same idea. They were talking about, estaban hablando de establecer un orfanato en La Gavia. Eventualmente. Bien, eventualmente. Bien. Bueno, ¿qué es un orfanato? ¿Qué es orfanato?
Orphanage.
Orphanage, sí, orfanato, pero se escribe con F. You know, there's none of that PH thing. So orfanato es orfanato con F, with an F, ¿sí? Bien. Whenever you hear somebody say this is something you may hear a lot. A solas. A solas, I think they said at least 2 or 3 times in this episode. Por ejemplo, toda la expresión fue más como, ¿dónde está? Dejemos a solas. Let's leave them alone. A solas, you know that solo means alone, but a solas means by themselves. Dejemos a solas. Let's leave them alone by themselves. Bien. Uy, ¿qué más? Cuando Ángela presentó la copa de plata, la copa de boda, the wedding cup, is a wine chalice, essentially. See, la copa de boda. She mentioned to Don Fernando, she had a phrase, ojalá que sea la prueba que buscas. Ojalá que sea. Hopefully it will be. Ojalá que sea. Hopefully it will be. La prueba, the proof. La prueba que buscas, the proof you're looking for. So this copa de boda was kind of a vehicle they used to prove that, oh, we really are, somos los nietos. We are the grandchildren, because this was, you know, your cherished wedding copa de boda. Bien. Y they talked a lot about brindar. Brindar. Brindar es to toast. Brindar es to toast. Y había una frase, one phrase using something that we had. Let's see if I can. Uy.
Don Fernando, me parece que ahora querrá quedarse a solas con sus nietos. Arturo y yo nos queremos despedir.
Gracias. Gracias a los dos. Y no se olviden. Vuelvan
Don't
siempre
forget,
que puedan.
come back whenever you might be able to. Esta es su casa.
Gracias,
Don Fernando invita a
Gracias.
los dos.
Gracias, don
Uy,
Fernando.
¿dónde está? Oh, yeah, I'm missing my big take. No. Estoy buscando la frase. I had my time marker down there, but it's a little difficult. Es un poquito difícil encontrar la frase exacta.
Gracias. El contento soy yo.
I'm the happy one. El contento soy yo. I'm the happy one.
Ahora estoy seguro de que son mis nietos.
Yeah, he goes, now I'm sure.
Me parece que ahora querrá quedarse a solas con sus nietos.
Okay, and they didn't put it in the subtitle. Okay, here's what he said, which they unhelpfully are not showing in the subtitle. Me parece que. This is one of those uses of parecer. Me parece que. It seems to me that. And now we're going to have what seems to me. Me parece que ahora querrán quedarse a solas. Me parece que ahora querrá, you will want. It seems to me that now you'll want to be alone with the grandkids, okay? That's the implication. But me parece que ahora querrá quedarse a solas. It seems to me that you'll want to be alone. But quite often, even though me parece doesn't technically mean I think, it is often used where we in English would say, I think, because it's a little more common for us in English to say this idea of, well, I think I'll leave you guys to yourselves. But in Spanish, quite often, well, they could say creo que, they could say opino que, but it is very common to say me parece que, it seems to me that, and it's another way of expressing an opinion. Okay, I think that. And people will even ask as a question, ¿cómo o qué te parece? How does it seem to you? And when they ask you that, ¿cómo te parece? They're often asking, well, what do you think about it? Okay. Están preguntando para sacar, to drag out of you, para sacar una opinión. ¿Qué te parece? What do you think? Even though parecer doesn't mean think. ¿Entienden? ¿Sí o no? ¿Sí?
Sí.
¿Qué te parece? Ok. A ver. Y todo salió bien. And of course, everything turned out well. So, así es. I do want to show you, for some of you who kind of were feeling like this was a mystery, at the end of the episodes, you are going to see, a ver, ¿dónde está? Puedo ver, puedo ver. I got way too many screens going here. Let's check out one more thing. I am going to show you, because when I'll just give you this general screen. And when you scroll all the way down, you're going to see extra things and get falsely excited. Wow, I've got all kinds of more episodes to watch. No, 52 es el último episodio. But I just want to tell you what's in here if you want to practice later. These later things, 53, 54, todo, they are little practice sessions for whatever little grammar bits were in. And they do give you quite a few, but like at the beginning, the first few ones are really very, very, very simplistic things. So they'll have grammar review snippets from episodio las primeras or los primeros episodios. So they'll do about, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes at once. They took the La Gavia, España, Argentina, Puerto Rico, Mexico. So they take all the snippets from those various travel segments of the whole series. So if you want to go back in, I will leave the link to this page, and way at the bottom, if you just want to do some little extra grammar snippets, if that's fun for you and you enjoy it, you can go back and do that. So we will be in future subbing in some things, different things to listen to use as listening comprehension. Okay, they won't be destinos, but there will be other things that tell some short stories that will work on. Okay, ¿está bien? ¿Hay alguna pregunta? Any other kind of question you had on? ¿Hay alguna pregunta del episodio, de lo que pasó, de una frase extraña, some kind of strange expression you didn't get? ¿Algo o no?
I had a question.
Okay, Patricia, dime.
Somewhere, I had the minutes, but you don't have to go look it up. There was a statement about the future of La Gavia, and then there was a word, and it looked like revealed. It was like, but it was SREVELA. And I couldn't figure out what, that's not a word.
Oh,
What is the S thing?
because somebody mistyped it.
Okay, that was all.
Somebody typed it. And let me type something in the chat box, Patricia, and see if it matches up.
You're good, Pat.
Is it
Whoa.
se
I couldn't
revela?
figure out what that,
Did
no.
it sound like?
the S was in front of, without the E and without the
Okay.
space. It was
That's
like,
where the mistype
rebel,
was.
and that's not a word in Spanish that I could find.
No, it's not, but that
And
was
so I figured it was
somebody,
just a typo.
somebody in transcription did not type it correctly. Se
Okay,
revela.
that's fine.
Or it may have
I
been.
sort of
even been a-
figured out it meant revealed from.
Yeah, yeah.
from
Is se revela is revealed or reveals itself.
Oh, maybe it was supposed to be SE space and they lost that. That's could have been it.
Hard to tell. Sometimes it's human error. Sometimes they have little bots actually doing translation.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I can, oh yeah, I can see when I read something I put on the subtitles to see how you will see them.
Okay.
And sometimes it's like, really almost anytime you put on subtitles from a YouTube, 20% of the time something goes wrong. And I'll look and I'll go like, where did that come from? Because that's surely not what they said. I think some of it is just artificial intelligence that does a mistake, or it might be somebody actually hand typing something in incorrectly.
Well, my great deduction figured out they must have meant revealed, but I couldn't figure out what that extra character.
So as I give you YouTubes for listening, do keep in mind, when you click on a CC box, very, very frequently, you got to anticipate that on a good day, 10%, there's going to be an error somewhere of something getting transcribed incorrectly. So just, be aware if something looks weird and looks wrong, it probably is. And if you listen really carefully, you may be able to hear it. I can definitely hear it. you know, where the mistake was. Sometimes it comes in because of a brand name that is English, but doesn't translate into Spanish. Stuff like that, or slang that they use that is not recognized and doesn't get transcribed properly. Okay, but se revela. Okay, algo más? Anything else?
Yeah,
Ah,
find
sí, sí, sí.
another destinos. That was good.
Perdón?
Find another destinos.
Another otro destinos.
Yeah.
What I am going to find for you are going to be some fun little podcasts that actually do stay on a specific theme. They will be somewhat harder, but they don't go super duper fast. And they do have fairly decent closed caption that will help you a lot. But they'll be good because they'll generate things that we can talk about. So that's the plan for now. Okay, Kathleen.
Una
dime.
pregunta.
Sí, sí,
No
dime.
entiendo how turning La Gavia into an orphanage would solve their financial problems. Did I miss something?
Yeah, and you know what I thought was really
Oh,
weird?
no resuelva nada. No resuelve nada. No, that resolves nothing. No. You know, a lot of these, you got to remember, this is like watching a telenovela,
Okay.
which is a soap.
But didn't he say he had a secret account or something and he
He
was?
had
Yeah.
a secret account. Oh, I've been
Nobody
saving for
knew
years,
this money
little
was
by little.
squirreled away.
Yeah.
Here he's been laying in bed all this time. Everybody's not been telling him the problems, but he knows them anyway.
And he says, oh, I'm saving the money.
Yeah.
Estoy ahorrando. Más
Pero
dinero. Estoy ahorrando, sí, para el orfanato. Yeah, okay, vale, vamos. Yeah, well, it's a telenovela. It is a telenovela. And that means that, you know, some of it is kind of like tough to swallow. Yeah.
Este bueno, yeah.
It's just that way. Okay. A ver, because a soap is a soap. Okay. And that's what it is. It's a soap.
Pregunta.
Sí,
Pregunta.
dime. Sí.
Siempre lo amó. What
Siempre
did-
lo amo.
You said that was she's always loved you, but if I
Yes.
translate it, it says I love you, or I
No. Oh, no. Qué buena
I always
pregunta.
love
No,
him.
momentito.
Right.
I always loved him. Yeah. Well, yes. Okay. Vale. We've got two things, I think, going on. But no es I loved. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Has to.
Okay. Vamos a ver. Bueno, a ver. Algo distinto. Let's pull this up because this will help. Va a ayudar. Uy, a ver.
It was 10:30 and I was exhausted.
A ver. El título del episodio es tan importante, ¿no? Ok. ¿Pueden ver la pantalla? Can you see the blank screen?
Yes.
See,
Sí, bien, ok. I had to move some things around. I want to make sure you could see it. Ok. Para averiguar, sí. Ok, vale. Muy bien. Siempre lo amo. Qué buena pregunta. Primero, en primer lugar, la palabra más importante, una frase de 3 palabras. La palabra más importante es amó. Amó, pero amó no es amo. Amo es I love.
Excuse me,
Ahora.
Marilyn,
Your-
I'm
your
not
typing
seeing
is-
any
is-
typing.
yeah, your typing is not
Can't
showing
see
up.
the typing.
I see the big box.
Yeah,
Yes, no
Right.
typing.
Ooh.
we've got the whiteboard, but
Okay, let me
No
try
words.
this. Voy a intentar. I'm going to try una vez más. Una vez más. When in doubt, turn it off, turn it back on. This is like hitting your TV screen. You remember your dad hitting the TV screen? Hit the TV and see if it works. Okay, vamos a tratar una vez más. We're going to try one more time. Ahora pueden ver. Now can you see?
Yes.
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 Como por magia. Ok. Vale, magnífico. Amo en primer lugar, in the first place, ¿sí? La primera parte es que es amo, no es amo. ¿Ok? amo es yo. Ahora, presente. ¿Entiendes?
Sí.
Bien, pero amo, cuando cambiamos la énfasis, when we change the stress, la énfasis, amo no es amo, amo es someone, one person loved. So in this case, because she was talking about Rosario, even though she didn't mention in that specific sentence, Rosario, it means amó, she loved, because it was referring back to Rosario. Okay, and as you know, with Spanish verbs, quite often we don't mention the person we're talking about, which, you know, you have to be really paying attention to what was the precursor, you know? Ah, pobre Rosario, escribió una carta a la señora Suárez. Rosario wrote a letter to señora Suárez y le dijo, she told her, siempre lo amó, siempre lo amó. I always loved him. I always loved him. So the amó shifts it from present to past. Yeah. Even though the words are all the same, the accent mark there tells you that's a past verb. Siempre lo amó. She always loved him. Okay. And what about this lo thing? So, and I'm trying to remember, see, now, ahora no recuerdo bien el contexto. Now I don't remember the context very well. My recollection is Rosario dijo que siempre lo amó, which you could interpret as she always loved him, saying that to Señora Suárez, or she always loved you. Lo can mean two things. Lo can mean loved him. Lo, if you're talking to somebody, can mean the usted, the polite you. It's a direct object. Who did she love? She loved either him or you. And I don't remember the context of whether that lo was an implication for you. She's talking to Don Fernando respectfully, or loved him.
But why isn't it L-E?
Oh, why isn't it le?
Mhm.
Ah, no puede ser le amo. Okay, I'm going to correct myself. There are some areas of Spain where you may hear le amo. You could. Spanish sometimes has this thing called leísmo, where the people in Spain may swap out this word lo with this word le. And this is going to kind of feel like it's getting in the weeds, because it is. In very old Spanish, it was allowed, in fact, sometimes encouraged, for you to use that pronoun le as a direct object to say him, if the direct object is a human being. Okay, un ejemplo. ¿Dónde está Roberto? ¿Dónde está Roberto? Mira la hora, ya son las 6:30. Lo veo. I see him. Who's the him?
Roberto.
Roberto. But in Spain, in some areas of Spain, it is still considered okay to say, le veo, instead of, lo veo. It's a funky thing that is sometimes done called leísmo. When the I see him thing is him and not I see it, a thing, but I see him, some people like to use the word le to say him. Similarly, this is not done for female. I see her versus I see it, a feminine gender thing. But technically, if you say, who did she love? She loved him. That's a direct object. And direct objects technically are either me, te, nos, or lo, or la, or los, or las. And if you say, well, who did she love? She loved him. It's a direct object. So in correct grammar speak, it should be lo amo, or la amo, loved her, or los amo, loved them, or las amo, loved them, an all gal group. Okay, technically, but you may hear people sub in a le in Spain, but most people will use lo, la, los, las. It's a direct object. So what is the difference again? The difference is mete, nos are the same, but indirect objects are le or les, and they do not go into that gender thing. Okay. What's the difference between a direct object and an indirect object? Who did she love? She loved him or her or them or the puppy dog or, you know, whomever. But we don't have an indirect object with who did she love. Ooh, we do have an indirect object with who did she give it to? What did she give it? I don't know, something, right? Who did she give the money to? What was given? Money, direct object. Who got the money? That's an indirect object. So in order to have an indirect object, the indirect object is usually getting something, often getting the direct object. Okay, often. Curiously, with gustar, you only have a metenos, a le, or les, yeah? Metenos, le, or les. So with those verbs that are like gustar, you won't have the lo, las, los, las, because you can't. They take an indirect object. Something seems a certain way to somebody. So if you can translate the idea of something was done to him, to her, to them, or for them, for her, for him, it'll be one of these selections. And you notice metenos, it kind of doesn't make any difference. That's both direct and indirect. But le or les, now it makes a difference. So we can never use lo or la or los or las with gustar, with parecer. We can't. We have to use the le or les option. Something seems this way to somebody. Okay. Something is worrying. Some situation is worrisome to somebody. Something is surprising to somebody. Do you see what we're saying? What if it's, yeah. And this is hard because we don't really have the same kind of deep distinction. I mean, we do have direct or indirect objects in English, but in Spanish, you really need to be thinking about, ooh, do I need an indirect object pronoun or a direct object pronoun? And this can blow your mind at times, okay? So this is what causes us problems, difficulty, dificultades, when we get down to, you know, a verb like parecer. Do I use le parece or do I use se parece? Whoa, which the pronoun do I use? Well, depends on what you mean. You use se parece if you say somebody looks like somebody else. But you use le parece if a situation seems a certain way to somebody. ¿Entiendes?
No, wait, do that last thing again.
Okay. This is why we get in so much trouble with, do I use le or do I use se? And wait a minute, the verb is the same. I'm confused. Okay. But here's what happens. Parecerse, se parece is a reflexive. Se parece has a special meaning. Se parece means somebody looks like somebody else. Okay? Por ejemplo, Por ejemplo, tengo buen ejemplo. I have a good example. Pero ¿dónde está? Momentito. Ok. Tengo buen ejemplo, aquí. Ah, estos hombres. I'm gonna blow them up big time. Ah, se parecen. Se parecen. They look.
We don't see
We-
anything.
yeah.
Ay,
Don't
perdón.
see anything but your typing.
Okay, momento. I've got to stop the share and go tell it to share a different thing. I thought by moving the screen up, it would do that, but it won't, sadly. Okay. This was embedded in your prompts. ¿Pueden ver? Okay, vale. Ah, estos tres hombres se parecen. They look alike. They look like each other. Say that. Se parece a, son hermanos, son tres hermanos. Se llaman los Hemsworth. Los hermanos Hemsworth, ¿sí? Este hermano se parece a su hermano mayor y el hermano mayor se parece a este hermano menor. He looks like. So se parece can mean he looks like somebody else because it's reflexive. They look like each other. Parecerse is a special use of parecer. It does mean seems, but it means he seems like somebody else, meaning he looks like somebody else. So when we use it in a reflexive sense, it is parecerse, to look like someone. But you could never say, look, mirar como. If you try to translate that literally, you'll look it up and say, ooh, look, mirar, like, como. Nobody will have any idea what you mean. There's a special verb to convey the English idea of looks like, and that is parecerse. To be similar to somebody else, to look like somebody else is parecerse. Okay, bien? So this is where we have difficulties because English uses different ideas to talk about these same things. Ooh, and I have to try to get, I will not let me. Uy, a ver. And now, of course, it's totally deleted. Try to undo. Okay. Trying to pull this back in alignment. This is what I get for trying to do a good deed. Okay, bien. But when you're talking about somebody looking like somebody else, it is parecerse. Now I've covered up my wonderful clue. Oh, los hermanos Hemsworth. No, there it is. Ahí está. Okay. Famous actors, actores famosos. If you want to say they look alike, it's parecerse. Okay. So let's look at how that is different from otra es. Okay. ¿Pueden ver? Can you guys see this? See or no?
Sí.
Okay. You can see the
What
screen
you
now.
had there before. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what we had before. Okay. So how is that different? Le parece does not mean somebody looks like somebody else. It means something seems this way to him. Oh, okay. Le parece, por ejemplo, le parece buena idea comprar este tele. ¿Le parece buena idea comprar este tele? It seems like a good idea to him to buy this TV set. Bien? But le parece means the idea of doing this seems pretty good to him or to her. And I might need to preface this to be specific about who the heck you mean by le with this. Manuel. A Manuel le parece buena idea. Oh, that seems like a good idea to Manuel. Go ahead, buy that. Sí, cómpralo. Bien?
Yeah, and even though you put in a Manuel, you still need le.
Oh,
I-
yes, do not skip that.
Okay,
Not skippable. The le there is not skippable. It will sound odd to them.
Okay.
Better to skip Manuel than
Right.
somebody have to ask you, ¿a quién? Who?
Yeah.
Better to skip the a Manuel than to skip the le,
right.
because the le sounds right to them.
Right.
Okay, and if they don't know who you mean, ¿a quién? Who? And you can say, ¿a quién? A Manuel, a Luis, a Jose,
Okay,
a Juan, whoever it may be. But lots and lots and lots of verbs do this thing where they pull in the le. And you'll hear the same verb, one way used with a le, one way used with a se, but it differs. So let's backtrack a little bit and look at a different verb. Let's look at sorprenderse. And unless you feel silly, don't feel silly for thinking this is confusing, but I bring it up because you hear people using this thing all the time. And then you're like, what are they talking about? You know? And I sat, I think, for 2 years in my high school class thinking, what are they doing? Until it finally dawned on me. Sorprenderse means to be, meaning you feel, feel has many E's, to feel surprised. And that means that surprise comes from deep, I don't know, somewhere within you. Okay? Me sorprendo mucho. Wow, it surprises me a lot. I feel this way. Me sorprendo. Okay, but me sorprende que, me sorprende que ganaste la lotería. Oh, it surprises me. And really they would use something else, not ganaste. What they would really use is subjunctive, but I'm going to leave this as it is so that you get the idea. Me sorprende que ganaste. It surprises me that this happened. It surprises me. That event, it surprises me. Me sorprendió. Better way to say it. Me sorprendió. Wow, that was a boom. Not I feel this way deep down, but the fact that happened, woo, look at that. It outside of me affected me this way. And notice the verb and the pronoun don't match up. Here, the verb and the noun, verb and the pronoun do match up. That means I'm feeling it from deep down here. A reflexive verb means I'm feeling this now. Okay, it's coming from within me, but not matching up the verb with the pronoun, saying that thing that is happening or did happen over there, it had this effect on me. And the me now means on me, not it happened within me, but it had this effect on me. Bien? Un poquito mejor, a little better?
Oh, yeah. See,
Un poquito, okay.
Uh,
So the same verb, right? But shift in that nuance. I feel this way. And this originates inside me versus, wow, that produced an effect on me.
So
Oh.
in practice, does it make that much difference? Because you're really saying the same thing, at least in these.
As long as you're getting the idea, but see where people start to get confused, you're saying, well, but that's the same thing, that's the same, it's still sorprender, yeah, but is it originating in here? Or did it happen outside in an outside event and I'm reacting to it? Yeah.
Marilyn, in the
Sí.
second sentence, is that an indirect object?
It's
The
an
may,
indirect object.
as opposed
pronoun.
to the previous
This is a
one where it's
reflexive
reflexive.
pronoun,
Okay.
even though they're the same word. It's
Okay, thank
functioning.
you.
Oh, it's functioning. It's the same word, but it's functioning one way here. It's functioning a different way there. It's functioning as reflexive here because it matches up, is in the same form as the verb. It's right next to. But here, this verb is, it surprised me. Something surprised me. Okay. And so something else is acting on me. It's having an effect on me. And this verb is not a yo form, but it's matched up with a yo kind of pronoun. So that means it did something to me. It produced surprise in me. Eso
Is it-
es.
listen, this
Okay.
Is it,
third person.
Sí, dime, tell me.
is it, in the second one, is that in the past tense or present
Yeah, that's
tense?
past. Let's get one that you're going to practice today. Let's look at preocupar. Preocupar, to worry. And we can approach preocupar two different ways. We can say, that is worrisome to me. Por ejemplo, puedo decir, me preocupa la inflación. Inflation does what to me?
Makes me worry.
Makes me worry.
It makes me worried. It is preoccupying. It is worrisome to me. Somebody may ask you, ¿te preocupa la inflación? ¿Te preocupa la inflación? Does inflation worry you? Does it produce this effect on you? But I might say, using the same verb, but in a different form, me preocupo, and now notice the little change here, por la inflación. And now it's not inflation worries me or is worrisome to me, but I'm worried because of. Me preocupo means I feel it, it starts in here. ¿Entienden? And that's why
So-
the me matches up the yo form.
Do you always need pour? If you're talking about,
You better there, yeah. Because,
because I
the
mean, that's
por, the por means because of.
to me, that's the big clue. Because you're
see.
saying pour, but you're not saying pour in the other one. And
No, you're not. Yeah. You're saying and the question you're saying, does this thing produce this feeling inside of you? And here we're saying, I'm already making myself crazy worrying about and the feeling originates in me.
But
Here.
in both cases, it's the inflation, it's the thing that's having an
right.
effect on you.
So, so okay, so the
in the end-
gist of the meaning is similar, right?
Mhm.
The main ideas are similar, but the way they produce that idea is different. Okay.
So if you said to someone, te preocupa por, they would see a disconnect.
They would
But
see a
would they
disconnect.
get the idea of what you said?
Yeah.
I mean, they would know you said it wrong.
Te
But
preocupas por la inflación o debido a la inflación o sí, sí. Yeah, you know, right. You need to, so you need to be like taking in the big context. You know, the takeaway is me preocupa, reflexivo, I'm feeling it, that feeling originates inside of me, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It starts with me, right? Bien? Sí, sí?
yeah, I can see, I mean, when you see it in print, you can sit there and look at it and think about it. But when you
But somebody
just hear it, it's like, does it really matter to my brain?
It doesn't matter if you get the idea when you hear it. It may be a little confusing if you don't say it the right way to somebody else. Will they get the general idea? Yes. Will it be super clear? It might be a little fuzzy to them, depending on, you know, whether you express it the right way. So what we want to just learn is correct and appropriate ways to express those ideas so that it comes out naturally.
How do you know when you hear a statement in Spanish, which is the word to key on first? Because the may is obviously not it. And you have to key on something that comes later in the sentence in order.
You have to hear enough examples that you get used to it.
Yeah.
That it feels natural. Because otherwise, what you want to do is pause, think for a little bit, and that's why you get these little prompts so that you can think of it ahead of time. Because you need to practice enough examples that it comes out naturally. Okay, so sí, eso es. So let's do this, and we're going to take a look at preocuparse first. And then we're going to look at some other things that are like these verbs, but we're going to hear them, Karen, just in the context you're talking about. So yes, lest you think I'm totally out of my mind. No, I do have a plan. Y aquí vamos. Here we go. Here's a thing which I think I gave you this link, and it shows you preocuparse, to worry about something. To get anxious, you know, become fretful. That's preocuparse. And you may hear not por, but de, you know, you may hear different little prepositions. Mi papá se preocupa de todos menos él mismo. Dad worries about everybody except himself. Okay. He worries about everybody but himself. Preocúpate de llegar a tiempo. Hey, just worry about getting yourself there on time. You worry about this. It's a command. Preocúpate. Hey, you worry about getting there on time. Y yo me preocupo de traer la cumpleañera, and I'll worry about bringing the birthday girl. You do this. You worry about getting there. I'll worry about doing the surprise thing, getting her in the car. Okay, bien. But preocupar by itself, without the preocuparse, preocupar by itself is to cause worry. Me preocupa que no haya tenido noticias de tu hermano. And this is a little more complicated because we're saying, we have to use a subjunctive with this because it's a verb of emotion. So don't worry about that half of it. Me preocupa no haya tenido noticias. It worries me that I haven't had news.
That's what's confusing.
That's what's confusing. Me preocupa. So,
I
okay.
agree.
Miren, look at that. Me preocupa. It worries me. Me preocupa que. Me preocupa que. It worries me that something is happening. Not I am worried about, but it worries me that this is happening.
Okay, so with the word K, does that always tell you?
The que tells you that I have a second little sentence embedded following. Me preocupa que tells you, oh, here comes a new mini sentence. What we call a clause. No haya tenido noticias, that I haven't had news. That I haven't had news is a separate little sentence within a sentence. It's a separate little sentence connected to this other idea by the little word que.
Okay, could you also use K with the reflexive form? Or is that just, I mean, is that the
Yes,
clue
you
word?
could.
Is what-
No,
You
you
could.
could. Yes, yeah. Reflect, yes. Yes. So preocupar without the se means to cause worry to somebody. But preocuparse means to be worried, to feel worried, to get yourself worked up, tied up in knots. Eso es. Okay? Bien?
To be worried.
Yeah, to feel it. The reflexive is feeling it deep down, not having it thrown at you, so to speak. Okay?
Marilyn, I have to say, I cannot distinguish between these two
So
things.
let's
Yeah,
look at some
I-
more
I
examples.
just can't get it in my head.
So
I keep looking
let's-
at different sources and I come up with
Right.
the same
Okay.
meaning either way.
It might be a mistake to look at some other sources, unless there's sources I give you.
Because we get
Well, you
cornered.
Don't, yeah. So, okay, let's take a look at, uy, ¿a dónde fue? Where'd it go? Aquí. Vamos a ver. Okay, momentito. Now, why did I give you this? And oh shoot, she's confusing me. Perdón. I am so sorry that I'm confusing you. But these are things that
Goes
do
with the
typically
territory.
confuse people. It does go with the
Yeah.
territory. These are
Yes.
things that people do typically feel confused about. But let's take a look. We're going to take a look at this extra practice because I didn't ask you to go this far. And if you did already, it may have been cause for concern. Okay, a ver. This is going to have a whole bunch. And this is going to use some verbs you used last week. Pueden ver, can you see this?
Yes.
Sí.
Pueden ver? Okay. Now this is going to go not super fast. And I wish I could make this bigger, but I can't. And you see written down here, me alegra verte, me alegra verte. And guys, is so common to people to talk this way a lot. So, me alegra verte. Not technically, I'm happy to verte.
See.
You.
See you. Okay. Not I feel happy to see you, but me alegra. It makes me
Happy to see.
It makes me happy.
And so they're just referring to Maria as Maria from Los Angeles when they're talking to her.
Her whole name is Maria de Los Angeles, and he keeps
Oh.
calling her Maria de Los Angeles because, you know, cuando eres mexicana y tienes el nombre María, María es tan común I have a friend, no lie, her 7 sisters were all named Maria. They
Like
were
George Foreman and his sons.
Maria
Wow.
Rosario, Maria Angela, Maria Marisol, Maria Elena, okay. Maria de Los Angeles is her full name because there's so many Marias. They tag stuff on. Okay, that's it. So,
Pregunta,
sí, sí.
on the last preoccupa, it was followed by an infinitive, they used a day. It was in one of those that on the page, it said there was the verb followed by an infinitive with a day in front of it, I believe. It was, yeah.
Right there?
Go up,
Ah,
higher up. Can you go higher or no? I meant lower.
parece que
No,
no le preocupa
no,
ganar.
preocupar. Go higher with preocupar. Okay, wait.
Aquí?
I
Here?
got
No,
I could
We're
have
looking
sworn
for
I
an
saw it.
infinitive somewhere,
one
right?
more. One
I
more.
saw, there was something
Up
called,
there to make sure in that
Okay,
preocupate de llegar. And
This
here,
one
there's
here?
no- yeah, but the one
Okay.
you just had with the happy, you eliminated the day.
oh, I see where, okay, vamos a ver. Okay, we have to split this into 2 parts to make it easier to understand. You're worried here, preocupate says, hey, you worry about this. Okay, it's a command. Preocúpate de llegar a tiempo. Worry about getting yourself there on time. And they translate it, you make sure to get there on time. Who needs to get there on time?
You.
When you do it yourself, it's that second thing, de llegar stays an infinitive.
Okay.
We don't conjugate it, we leave it alone. What are you worrying about? You're worrying about doing something yourself. So you're not worried that she gets there on time. You working about getting your butt there. Yeah. When you're just worried about whatever you do, that second action stays an infinitive. So, preocúpate de llegar a tiempo. You worry about getting yourself there on time. Probably how you would say it conversationally. Y yo me preocupo de traer a la cumpleañera. And I'll worry about bringing the birthday girl, meaning I'm doing the transportation end. And who's doing the driving her? So because I'm doing it and I'm worried and I concern myself with getting this job done, that traer stays an infinitive. I'm not worried that my kid is trashing the house. I'm not worried about what somebody else is doing. I'm not worried that my kid is trashing the house. I'm not worried that she won't show up. I'm not worried that they're throwing beer cans all over the living room. I'm worried about doing the job of bringing.
Right.
So
but the
what I
question
do
was-
myself stays an infinitive.
What I realized, both this one and the other example we just went through with Allegra, that did not have the day infinitive. It just went right into the infinitive. That's the
Oh, yeah.
question.
Oh, so this versus the video. See?
No, the next segment that you did was on Allegra, with the page. And
Okay,
it had Allegra and the infinitive, I'm happy.
No day.
No day.
oh.
Why the difference between the two?
Oh, because it's a different verb, alegrar. And alegrar doesn't need day. Isn't that sick, sad world, man? Yeah. This is the trouble with prepositions. Some verbs need a preposition, some of them don't.
Okay. More simple than I thought.
No, it's not as complicated because you have to
Okay.
memorize all the.
So let's hear the snippets. And they're not just going to use just preocupar or just parecer. They're going to use different ones that behave this way. Okay. I'm hoping the audio.
Me alegra verte, María de los Ángeles.
I'm happy to see you. I'm happy doing this, right? I'm not actually, no, not I'm happy. It makes me happy to see you, okay? And we know that that's a happy thing because of the verb.
Marilyn,
Un refresco.
instead of verte, can you say te ver? Can you
No.
switch that around? No.
No, can't switch that around.
Okay.
Let's try that one. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, so apetecer means do you have an appetite for, do you feel like? Do you feel like having whatever? Refresco is a soda, okay? Una vez más.
Un refresco.
No, gracias, Miguel.
Okay. Would you like to have, do you feel like having, how would we express that?
Well, it's going to be te.
Te.
Te apetece. Does that appeal to you?
Solucionar este tema, Miguel. No quiero comer nada.
Muy común. I'm interested in.
So it's may because it's
May and-
I.
Uh-huh.
And why is it not intereso?
Because it's like
interests me.
gustar.
In the
It
solution.
interests me.
It interests me. What interests me? What is interesting to me? To me.
Whatever's
Finding a
going
solution.
on right there.
Whatever's going on. So what's going on?
Of course.
Well, she wants a
Solution.
solution.
Solution
So-
to this.
Right.
theme.
Solving, finding a solution to this tema,
Subject.
this subject. I don't want to eat anything, she says.
Mucho de esta situación.
I don't much like this.
Me disgusta.
Yeah.
Disgusta.
And me disgusta, if we take gustar and put a dis on the front, we get disgusta,
Mhm.
okay? Opposite of gusta. Don't like it.
A mí tampoco. Discutir sobre la custodia de Mariana, créeme.
Oh, it's a divorce settlement.
Mhm.
Okay.
DVR.
Now wait, you learned divertirse, reflexive means to have a good time. Well, they're not talking about having a good time. Well, they are, but she's making it a negative. A mí tampoco, me neither. A mí tampoco, look at that. A mí tampoco, because this is a verb like gustar. It's being used like gustar. I don't like this. I'm not having much fun with this either. And
Okay, so-
divertir here is not used as say, but it's not so much fun for
Me.
Me.
me either, bud. Yeah. A mí tampoco. What do we need?
May.
Well, don't you have to have the may because it goes with the ami?
Yeah, because it goes with a mí. Exacto. Sí. A mí tampoco me divierte. Well, it's no bed of roses for me either, buddy. A mí tampoco me divierte discutir. Discutir. Discutir es hablar enojado.
Angry talk.
Discutir. ¿Qué es discutir?
Angry argument.
Arguing. It's not fun for me to argue about Mariana's custody. Créeme, believe me. Me divierte.
Me duele la cabeza, Miguel. Vayamos al grano, por favor.
Ah,
Well,
Me duele.
Me duele. What hurts her?
Her head.
Head.
Her head.
My
There's a
head
headache.
hurts. My head, yeah, I have a headache. Yeah, literally, my head hurts me, Miguel. Vayamos al grano means let's cut to the chase. Vayamos al grano is an idiomatic phrase. It means let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get down to the main business.
A mí también. Nuestras peleas, María de los Ángeles.
Aburrir means to be boring. And he is not saying I feel bored. He's saying something is boring to him. What is boring to him?
This argument, this fight.
Fights. Yes. Nuestras peleas, our fights. Nuestras peleas. Well, yeah. Our fights are boring to me, María de los Ángeles. They bore me.
Seamos positivos, Miguel. Al menos ya estamos más cerca de un acuerdo. No me apasiona el acuerdo, pero algo es algo.
Seamos positivos. Let's be positive. She's saying this as a let's command. Let's be positive, Miguel. Al menos, at least, ya estamos más cerca de un acuerdo. At least we're closer to an
Agreement.
agreement. Un acuerdo is an agreement. Okay? I'm
Does
not.
y'all really add anything to that sentence? Could you say the same thing without
It
ya?
does. It does. Yeah, by this time or now. We're
Okay.
closer now than we used to be.
Okay.
It's comparison now more than we were back then.
Before.
Okay. And apasionar means to be passionate about. So we would probably say, I'm not crazy, because this is a negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about the agreement, but it's something. Algo es algo, something is something. You would say it's something. Okay? Which one should it be? No le apasiona or no me apasiona?
See?
No, they.
No me.
Okay.
No me apasiona el acuerdo. I'm not crazy about this, but yeah. Don't you like?
Los
Don't you
términos
like the
del acuerdo
terms?
creo
No
que
te
son
gustan.
positivos para
No
ti.
te gustan.
No te gustan.
Yeah, don't you like the
Me da pena
terms?
esta situación.
Me da pena esta situación. Literally, ooh, well, you can figure that out. Happy or sorry about?
Gives me sorrow.
Sorry
but
about.
I
Pena
thought it
literally
was-
means,
worth the effort or worth the pain.
well, it's a not
It
so
gives
happy
me-
divorce.
Right.
Yeah. Dar pena means
Además-
feel bad about it.
La actitud de tu abogado.
Oh, I resent your lawyer's attitude.
Me indigna.
Me indigna. La actitud, the attitude of your legal guy makes me,
Indignant.
María de los Ángeles. La
bastar
custodia
means
compartida.
to be enough, to suffice. Doesn't this work? Doesn't shared custody, isn't that enough for you? Isn't that enough for you?
Well, it's singular, so no te basta.
Custodia compartida, no te basta. Isn't that enough for you?
Sí, pero a Mariana no le emociona la situación.
Hmm.
No ley.
That would be the.
Yeah, no lea emoción.
Ley.
How do you know it's no le emociona and not no me emociona?
Because it's a Mariana.
It's I'm Mariana. She's not super
A
happy.
ella-
She's not excited.
Estabilidad y no vivir en dos hogares diferentes.
Hacer falta is to need. A ella
To her.
Ella, le
Le
hace
hace
falta.
falta.
le hace falta estabilidad. She needs. Hacer falta means to be lacking in something or to need something. Le hace falta estabilidad. Y no vivir en dos hogares diferentes. Y no vivir en dos hogares, dos casas.
Right.
¿Bien? ¿Sí?
Ujú.
Ok.
¿O es que
Oh,
su bienestar?
bienestar, welfare. Or is it just that you don't care about her welfare?
No te importa. It's not important to you.
Importar is to
Estoy de
matter
acuerdo.
or to care about
A
something.
Mariana vivir en un solo hogar.
Convenir means it's a good idea. For Mariana, it's a
Le convient.
Le
good idea to live in.
conviene.
One place.
¿Sí? Bien? Okay. So we need le conviene.
¿Te parece bien entonces que viva conmigo?
Oh. Let's play that again.
¿Te parece bien entonces que viva conmigo?
She said te.
Te parece bien.
Yeah. She's asking his opinion.
Mhm.
Does it seem okay to you then that she lives with
Me.
me? And she has to use viva because it is making that subjunctive, but they're not asking you to put the viva in there. Te parece bien? Is it okay to you? We might say, we probably wouldn't say it as, does it seem okay to you? What do you think about? We might say, what do you think about her living with me? That what you think it's okay? ¿Te parece bien?
Por supuesto que no. Actitud, María de los Ángeles.
Fastidiar is to be upset about. Por supuesto que no says, of course not.
Me fastidia.
Me fastidia.
Me fastidia tu actitud. I'm very annoyed, put out by your attitude.
No, me sobra el tiempo hoy, Miguel.
Sobrar means to have something left over. I have no more
Time.
time for this today.
No me sobra.
No me sobran o no me sobra?
Sobra. Time.
No me sobra.
Nuestra hija, eso es todo.
It could be either one.
Yeah.
No, it
But
can't.
But no.
Oh, no, because it's
no, because it's
preocupada.
our.
It has to be,
No, it can't be
Me.
either one because this is a plural and this is a
Right.
singular. So,
Oh.
Me
preocupa.
yeah.
Oh, he's
Okay.
talking about him.
A
Okay.
Mariana, mucho esta situación, Miguel. Está triste.
Le molesta.
Mariana is very, very bothered by this situation.
Le
Está triste. She feels sad.
Le
A
molesta.
Mariana
Le molesta.
le molesta.
Ay, que no podamos llegar a un acuerdo.
Yeah, it puts me in a bad mood.
Me pone de mal.
Me pone de mal humor.
Me pone de mal humor.
Tengo que irme, Miguel. 3 clientes para terminar mi día de trabajo.
I need to work with 3 more people before finishing up my workday. So
Me faltan.
Me falta.
me faltan, yeah, I've got these 3
¿Hablamos la
people still
próxima
waiting.
semana? No me agrada demasiado la idea de que hablen nuestros abogados. Te llamaré.
Hablamos la próxima semana. Shall we talk next week? The idea of our lawyers talking
No me agrada.
no me agrada. I'm not real pleased with the idea of our lawyers talking. Y perdón, I'm sorry, that took up some time, but do you see how that rolls? How, these are very, very common verbs. These are very common expressions that people use all the time.
Mm.
¿Sí o no?
Sí.
Sean honestos, be honest.
Yeah, because going over this and then getting feedback why is how.
Es difícil. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to assign you to actually look at that next session, but I know some people had difficulty logging into this. So would it help next week if we watch one more episode of like how they do this and then we come back to these prompts that you had?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would that be more helpful?
Yes.
Yep, right.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Lo que vamos a hacer. What we are going to do is, because I know some people said they could not log into this, and I don't know why, because you should have been able to. We're going to check out the next item, and I need to get back. We're gonna check out the next situation and look at it live and see what they say. And y perdón, I am so sorry that we did not get a chance to go through our questions. We'll just keep these questions because now they may make more sense. Yeah. So what you're going to come back and what I want you to do is just work these two verbs when you go into a group. Y perdón. Wow, I'm sorry. But you know what? We had good questions come up. So está bien. It's okay. You're going to talk with parecer and talk about my boss seems like something. My boss, not my boss looks like his kid. Look, it's not parecerse. My boss seems like an angel. My boss seems like a jerk. My boss, yeah, see where we're going? We want you to use appearance with a noun. My boss seems like something. The example they gave you in the video with Paula was, mi hija parece un ángel. Or no, mi hija parece una princesa. My daughter looks like a princess. We have to match up something. We have to put parecer in there and use parecer with a noun. My daughter looks like a princess. She seems like a princess. An appearance, how somebody seems with a noun. So we want a noun. Pareces todo un caballero. Pareces, you know, and I'm going to take this. Oh, yeah. Pareces todo un caballero. I'm going to change this one up a little bit to make it a little bit clearer. La nave espacial de Bezos. Bezos' little thing.
Yeah.
Looks like what?
Yeah. Like what you said.
Yeah. Like that. Okay. But you can talk about that in private. Impersonal. And I'll send you the video again that Paula does, because Paula does a very good video with this. Impersonal. It seems. Esta práctica, this seems a certain way. And now we want some kind of a description. It seems, you know, description. So that's kind of easy because it's just description. Okay. Walking 10 miles seems, yeah, how? Yeah, viajar a Sudamérica. It seems, how? Yeah. Parece que, and now we want to be talking about something with the weather. I'll send you the video again. We'll kind of, yeah, I don't have time to preview the video now because it's a long video, but seems like it's gonna be hot. Seems like it's gonna rain. Seems like it's gonna be cool.
Snow.
Seems like it's gonna snow. Seems like it's gonna be windy. Yeah, put something out there, right? Okay, so talk about how something seems that we'll do something. Seems with an adjective, yeah.
Well, what's the difference between the first three in the last section and the impersonal and then the description with adjectives.
Okay, the difference here is just, it seems that, traveling seems this way.
But you're usually going to use an adjective. What the point is, particularly.
You're
with-
using an adjective with a lot of these.
Yeah. But you have a separate category for that.
Yes,
that's-
because in Paula's video, she had a separate category. So it's key, have this next to you when you watch Paula's video.
Okay.
She's going to divide it into segments.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to look at the first. So here's my suggestion. Les sugiero que vean el video con el papel aquí, Les sugiero que vean el video con el papelito aquí. I suggest you watch the video and you pause it in each section. And then you look at each little example and work out some things you want to do. Because it'll be fresh as she goes to each example. See? Bien?
Sí.
She'll give an example and I've got them in the same order. And she'll give a bunch of things with a noun. Pause it and work out some ideas. Go on to the next one. She'll say impersonal, and she's going to give a bunch of examples. Work out the examples. And then description with an adjective. And then listen to her examples, pause it, write down your little examples here. And then she's going to get into parecerse. Yeah, bien? To look like somebody else. And then she's going to get into dar una opinión, giving an opinion. And yeah, literally, ¿qué te parece el carro Tesla? What do you think about the Tesla car?
Well, I know that.
Whereas we'll really say think, but somebody's really saying, what's your opinion? So listen to Paula's video and pause it at each section. When she starts a new segment, pause the video and go look at your examples. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If
that
you
would-
put them side by side, it'll make sense. Bien? Mejor? Better?
Sí.
Okay. I probably confused some of you just a bit, but watch the Paula video. I'll show you how Paula looks. This one right here, con la camiseta de rayas with this striped shirt. And she's going to segment parecer into specific, distinct categories. And she's going to show you all the different ways you may hear people use parecer. So when she starts off,
que es usar el verbo parecer en su forma normal, sin pronombres, ¿ok? Parezco, pareces, parece.
and she gives you the
look
conjugations.
like.
Talking about appearance.
Look like. Por ejemplo, si digo, pareces una princesa con ese vestido.
You look like a princess with that. You look like this thing. Bien? Pause it and look at your first examples, your first prompts. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mejor?
Pregunta.
Sí, sí.
Yeah. Do you know, are there any videos with preocupar versus preocuparse?
Yes.
That's the one.
That would help a
cannot-
lot.
Tell you what, we'll, ahora no sé. Let's leave the preocuparse to do all together.
Okay.
Bien? I mean, like scribble some ideas. They may be good, they may not. And we'll do that one all together in a big group. How does that sound?
Muy bueno.
Okay.
Mejor?
that
Better?
sounds- Because it confused me that in the first one you said, talk about two things. And then in number 2, you say, pick 2 things and you underline
Right.
things. So what's the difference?
I'm
mean,
with you there, Karen.
thing number one and thing number two.
Oh, because this is not reflexive. Okay, so let's take a quick look before we send you off with this. Me preocupo de. I'm worried about something. Me preocupo de, and I'm sorry, it should be manejar. Me preocupo de manejar en 101.
Mhm.
I'm worried about driving on the 101.
Me too.
I'm worried that, yeah, I'm worried that I do the
We're finding
driving on 101, okay? I'm not worried about my son driving on the 101. I'm not worried about my husband. I'm worried about driving on the 101. So notice what happens. This is what part of what came up. I'm doing the driving and I'm worried about myself doing the,
So this one is preocuparse.
yes, I feel this way. It is welling up inside of me. So it is reflexive.
Feel worried.
Yo verb, preocupo, me preocupo, me with a yo verb. Yeah, they match.
Okay.
But down here, this thing is underlined because la salud de mi esposo, my husband's health, is a thing.
Mm.
The thing I'm worried about is my husband's health.
Okay. So that's preocupar.
Me preocupa. Notice, me preocupa. His health is, it worries. Let me put down below. This may help a little bit. It worries me.
Mhm.
Not I feel worried.
Okay.
It worries me. Up here, it's I feel worried. Whoops. Worried about. Lo que sea, whatever it may be. I feel this. So it's reflexive.
So, and with the reflexive, you're always going to have day. I feel worried about. So day is kind of like
Might
about.
be de, might be por. Yeah.
por? Okay.
You might hear some different things in there. You might hear some different things in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. But me preocupa la salud de mi esposo. This thing, his health, is worrisome to me. And I know they convey the same general idea, right? But we form there's a very nuanced difference between these two expressions. The reflexive means I feel it deep within myself, and this feeling originates with me. This says this external thing has this effect on me. And that's why the verb is not in a yo form. The pronoun is a yo kind of pronoun, it's me, but the verb is not a yo verb. Does that make sense now?
Maybe.
Much better.
Más o
The
menos?
subtleties of it all, but yeah.
It is very subtle. It is very subtle. It truly, truly is.
Yes.
Okay, let's leave the preocupar. We'll do that one all together.
Muy bueno.
Together.
Okay,
See? Bien? We'll do,
The end.
yeah, we'll do that all at once. And but work the parecer. Work the parecer. If I can find a preocuparse video, I will get one to you. I don't know one off the top of my head, but
That helped a lot. Thank you.
did it help? I hope.
Yes.
Continue
But
there.
the reason we're doing this is we're studying these verbs that are like gustar. And there are a ton of them. There are tons and tons and tons of these. I mean, don't even ask me for a list because es imposible. It is impossible to do because there's so many. So you kind of, here's my point. You kind of have to be prepared that other people are going to throw that at you. It might be hard for you to express the idea, but what is, so, you know, it might be hard for you to express the idea, therefore you have to work it a little bit. But what's really going to happen in real life is somebody will talking to you, just throw that out. And you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, may, but it wasn't your verb. What did they mean? What did they mean? Yeah. And ¿qué te parece? ¿Qué te parece? How does it seem to you? Meaning, I want your opinion on this. ¿Qué te parece? ¿Qué te parece? They probably think it's, you know, you're going to be in agreement with them, but, you know, they're looking for that. They're looking for that affirmation. But watch the video, pause it, do the segment, wait till the next big headline part. Listen to the examples, pause it, go do the next section. Make sense? Bing.
Yes.
Okay. I probably was not specific enough. Y perdón. La culpa es mía, my fault. If I was unclear about that. So now it's probably maybe not quite like totally muddy. There's a little, you can see a few rocks at the bottom of the pond, even if you can't see everything super clear. Yeah? See? Yeah? Okay? Vale?
Easy.
I'm going to give you, well, here's what I'm going to ask you. Would you rather hear a story type thing, which is probably going to last about 20 minutes, or for a video for listening? Or would you rather go to a website that kind of teaches things about learning Spanish in a very natural way that you can pull your English knowledge into pronunciation of Spanish?
That sounds.
They're
both
two very
sound
different
yeah.
activities. One will give us maybe things to talk about at a later time. One will be, oh, I know a lot of English words I can just pull into Spanish and, am I pronouncing that right?
I think it would be good to work on pronunciation.
Yeah.
There's a very, it's actually not a new website, but I will show you very briefly what it looks like. It is called, what is it? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Language transfer, that's what it's called. It looks like this. And actually there are different ways you can listen to it. Apparently you're able to download it if you want to. If you go to YouTube, no, you will not see any people. It will just be a YouTube recording with the same exact audio. There are no talking heads. There are no people to watch if you watch it as a YouTube.
Would it be Mexican? Would it be Mexican pronunciation or Spain?
This one is more Spanish pronunciation, but he kind of gets into telling you, oh, you'll hear it this way in this place. You'll hear it this way in a different place. So he differentiates with that. But I would say, listen to the first 2 tracks, maybe 3. Each one is probably between 7 and 8 minutes, 7 to 9 minutes, no more. But it's more about learning. It's a learning method and it's a listening method. You will see nothing written out whatsoever. There will be no writing. It's going to be pure listening. And he's going to say, here's how you should think about learning vocabulary. And here's about how you should think about pronouncing these words. And he keeps it super, super simple. He is a practitioner of the KISS method, the KISS, keep it simple, stupid method that we all need in our heart, because we do. He keeps it a very simple level, absolutely really no grammar. Here are things you already know in English that you can pull into I can learn and to use these words and recognize what they are this fast in Spanish. That's the method. Bien?
Sí.
And it's a kind of a Socratic method. He's saying, you already know this, you just need to tweak it a little bit to be able to say it. You'll hear him and a student, and how he draws out the response. And each snippet, and I would say listen to the first 3. Each one is probably between 7 and 9 minutes long. They're very short. There are 40 of these. Don't try to go through the whole thing or you'll be, well, I mean, if you're that ambitious, go for it. He's not gonna like do any earth-shattering grammar thing in this. And we won't really review this, by the way. He's just gonna tell you this is how you should think about practicing and acquiring some vocabulary and cobbling it together into a sentence. That's all he does. Okay, yeah. So there's nothing for us to say. I mean, you may come up with a question after listening to him, but it'll be something super simple and short. It won't be anything as deep as parecer.
Yeah.
Okay, bien?
All right, see.
Bien. I think it is, and I'll be very interested in your feedback about whether you feel that's worth listening to, say, 3 snippets every week. Or not.
Sure.
I will say that because you are listening and you have nothing to see on the screen, there's nothing to look at. So I know a lot of you are going to think, oh, I'm a visual learner, but I would really suggest turning it on, closing your eyes and just thinking, like block everything out and listen to it with your eyes closed. I really do highly recommend that. Block out all visual distractions in your environment. Listen with your eyes closed. And you probably won't have to back him up very much because he's going to go at a very slow and steady pace. And he's going to ask the student to repeat things. It's going to be very simple stuff. Okay?
Okay, sí.
Ok, vale, magnífico. Entonces,